Here.
Councilmember Middlebrooks.
Here.
Councilmember McClendon.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. If everyone would please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Sweeney.
Bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for watching over our great nation and thank you for the freedoms that we have. Thank you for blessing our city with the rising population. May we continue to do our best for our citizens and visitors and look to you for guidance in our service. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, right here. In the top. Yeah.
Now is the time to recognize some special guests. I want to recognize Mayor Jim Lowry, former mayor of the city of Fultondale. Mayor, I'm glad to have you here. I understand you're representing the Home Builders Association. Welcome to the Hoover City Council. Also like to recognize a first-timer to the Hoover City Council. Mr. Josh Clacker is with us. Mr. Clacker is a resident of Hoover on Mayflower Drive. Mr. Clacker is a friend of mine. He said he was going to come, and he's here. So, Josh, welcome to the Hoover City Council. Now move into other announcements. We will have a special call meeting on August 23rd, 1 week from today at 11 o'clock. So I think a notice will be coming out from the clerk maybe later this evening on that. But if you'd mark your calendars for 11 o'clock a.m. on August 23rd for a special meeting of the Hoover City Council. Also, the first meeting in September will be held on Tuesday, September 7th, instead of the September 6th date, which will be Labor Day. So we will move that day by 1 day, that meeting by 1 day. We're very privileged tonight to have Representative David Wheeler with us tonight. Mr. Wheeler, you have a presentation, I believe?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President, council members, mayor. I would like to present a check to the Hoover Randall House. And there she is. Obviously, Hoover Randall House is one of the gems of Hoover, and they've had a lot of needs for deferred maintenance projects and that kind of thing. So I'd like to present you this check.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we could get a picture, Mr. Wheeler, may we get a picture with you and the council and the mayor, please? Ms. Tara, if you don't mind, before you leave. She's got an event to host tonight. She's got to go to work. Representative Wheeler, we're very gracious for your kindness in thinking of the city of Hoover with that grant. We'll put it to good use, I promise you.
Sure you will.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Bucato, I believe you now have some employee recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a nice event that we have when the timing is right. And the timing is right to recognize several of our employees that have hit a unique milestone in their career. And we will start first with our 20-year service plan, and that is, we'll start first with Captain McDonald. Captain McDonald, would you come down with the police department, please? Thank you, sir. So Captain McDonald, Scott McDonald, came to Hoover Police in 2001 as a police officer. He has served on our Honor Guard and a very important part of the program, our SRT from 2006 to 2011, served on Compact 2020. And that's where we share services with Shelby County, and it's a cooperative service to really deal with people that are dealing with drugs and things of that nature. And education's a big part of it as well. We appreciate that. He's a driving instructor. He's been promoted to a master police officer in 2006, a sergeant in 2011, lieutenant in 2016, and in 2021 he became a police captain, and he's currently assigned to our Administrative Services Bureau. Captain McDonald has spent many years in our SIU unit solving some really very sensitive and difficult crimes, and we're grateful for that. And you know, one thing we're noted for is solving crimes quickly, and it's because of individuals like yourself that dedicate your life to doing those kinds of things. And now he's a school resource officer in terms of he's our liaison and works with the SROs, and what a great program that is, and we're very proud of that in the city of Hoover. I know our schools and our families and our children are exceptionally proud of it as well. Thank you so much for your service. Let's get these. And if Captain McDuffie would come up, Norm McDuffie. Captain McDuffie was hired here on July 30th, 2001 as a police officer, and he has worked as a K-9 handler for 6 years from 2002 to 2008. He too was on our SRT Special Response Team from 2002 to 2008, promoted to a Master Police Officer in 06, Police Sergeant in 07, Lieutenant in 12, promoted to Captain in 2016. And Captain McDuffie is a proud graduate of the FBI's National Academy, which is quite an accomplishment and an honor to have been able to attend that. He is currently assigned to our Investigation Bureau. Captain's been responsible for just a lot of arrests and numerous violent crimes. Fortunately, we don't have a whole lot of violent crimes, but he's been involved in solving those cases for during his career here, and we're very appreciative of that. He handles special events, and I'll tell you, when he was in charge of things, particularly around pre-COVID and all, our crime rate was the lowest ever, actually, and it just got better every year in terms of reduction in crime. And we're grateful for that, and I can just say I've worked often with Captain McDuffie, and he's just a calming spirit on the scene, and I've seen him in some pretty difficult situations, and we're grateful for everything that he does and how he serves our city. Thank you very much. And those were our 20 years, and we'll move to our 25 year. I would like for Miss Sharon Nelson to come up. Sharon came to us in 1996 as a landscape architect, and she actually really started doing work for the city before that, working for a private firm and helping develop community standards, particularly with U.S. Steel and their Trace Crossings community. But as our landscape architect, she helps ensure that our landscaping is in great shape and that we have a beautiful community. And by the way, we have a beautiful community, and it's because of her great work. But Sharon managed and developed our city the very first based landscape standards, and that was back in the 90s, so it goes back quite a ways. She manages the installation and maintenance of landscape along the interstate and our interchanges. She plays a critical role in getting our Christmas decorations up. We all get a call from her about a month before and warning us not to be parked outside when they get ready to hang the Christmas decorations. And actually, our city hall is beautiful during that time. It's just it's a real showcase on Highway 31. We appreciate that. She's very involved in environmental issues. She's been very active at Moss Rock Preserve. She's working now on the Ross Bridge Historic Site, the little bridge there, and some things that need to happen over there. Aldrich Gardens, all of those things that she works on simply go to help and improve the looks of Hoover each and every day. And I tell you, you do a great job. She's a lot of fun to be around, great person, a good cook. If you like Lebanese food, if you get on her good side, you might get some kibbeh, maybe not, I don't know. But thank you so much for your service as well. And by the way, I've never had any kibbeh party. What's the deal? And let's see, we have one more 25-year presentation, and that is firefighter Ed Pegues. Ed, you'd come down. We'd love for you to bring Ginger and Hudson down as well, if they don't mind. Ed came to us as a recruit in 1996 and actually was hired as a firefighter in 1997. He became a fire medic in 1999. And he's worked at stations 6, 3, and 1 before transferring to Station 4 in 2003. And he's been at Station 4, and he's currently a fire engineer or a driver at Station 4. He's earned numerous opportunities to go on some AMAS deployments, and that's part of the mutual aid system for the state of Alabama. So when we had when the hurricanes hit Mississippi, Ed was an integral part of that team that deployed over to help them and just does a great job. One of the things that he's noted for is he's a great cook. And he won the Iron Chef Award, and that was between Vestavia, Homewood, and Mountain Brook, cooking shrimp and grits and banana pudding for 300 people, and it was outstanding. But he's not only is a great cook, he's an incredible firefighter and a paramedic. He's the person that you want to be with you at your side when you're going into that building. I've had the pleasure and the opportunities to fight many fires alongside him, and he's the guy you want right next to you. And we're so thankful for his service, and he's got a wonderful family here as well. Thank you so much, Ed.
Did you break it?
We used the most expensive paper that we've ever had.
Paper.
Hold it tight, Ed. And that concludes us. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations, and thank you to each of the 4 employees recognized tonight. We'll now move to our consent agenda. The consent agenda is presented with items that are deemed non-controversial and items that we anticipate there being no discussion on. I would ask any of the members see any item on the consent agenda that they would like removed. Hearing none, are there any members of the audience that would like to speak on any of the items numbers 6 through 13 tonight? If so, we'll be happy to remove it from the consent agenda. Seeing none, Mr. Corley, if you'll read the items.
Item number 6 is the approval of minutes. Item 7, Resolution 65-1521 authorizes issuance of a 050 retail beer off premises only and 070 retail table wine off premises only alcohol license to 31 Fuels LLC, doing business as Sunoco Highway 31, located at 1537 Montgomery Highway. Resolution 65-1621 adopts the annual transportation plan for fiscal year 2022. Resolution 65-1721 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a lease agreement with Hardin Properties LLC for property located at Bluff Park Village Shopping Center, 2146 Tyler Road, Suite 204. Resolution 65-1821 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a contract for the Administrative Director of Courts, Judicial Branch, State of Alabama for Court Referral Officer Services. Resolution 65-1921 amends the budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2021, as shown on Exhibit A attached to the resolution. Resolution 65-2021 authorizes the formation of the Commercial Development Authority of the City of Hoover. Resolution 65-2121 authorizes the formation of the City of Hoover Downtown Redevelopment Authority.
Mr. President, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We'll now move to the regular agenda and begin with item number 14, resolution number 649821. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval for a new Taco Bell with drive-through located at 1553 Montgomery Highway.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6498-21.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval of the resolution. I believe the applicant may be here tonight. Are there any questions from the council on this item? Any questions or comments from those in the audience on this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 15, resolution number 649621. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval for Jack's Family Restaurant drive-through window at a new redeveloped building located at 3429 Lorna Road.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6496-21.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the members of the body? Any questions or comments from members of the public? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 16 is resolution number 649721. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval for a Zaxby's restaurant with drive-through only located at 2071 Patton Chapel Road.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6497-21.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the body? Any questions or comments from members of the public? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. 3 new drive-throughs coming to the city of Hoover. We'll now move to a first reading. I understand we may have a motion for suspension of the rules, but we'll begin with item number 17, ordinance number 21-2537.
This ordinance provides for the levying of municipal taxes for the city of Hoover and for the assessment and collection of such taxes for the year beginning October 1, 2021.
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of ordinance number 21-2537.
Second.
We have a motion and second for suspension of the rules. Calls for a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Sweeney?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Middlebrooks?
Aye.
Mr. McClinton?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye, that's 7 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries. We'll now have immediate consideration of ordinance number 21-2537. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. I'm sorry, let's take comments first. Comments or questions from the members first.
A motion to.
We need a motion. Mr. President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 21-2537.
Second.
Thank you. Now we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the members? Questions or comments from the public on this item? Hearing and seeing none, we'll now have a roll call.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Sweeney?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Middlebrooks?
Aye.
Mr. McClinton?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye, 7 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries, and the ordinance is adopted. Now move to item number 18, ordinance number 21-2538.
This ordinance approves the annexation of 3429 Meadowwood Drive, owned by Michael Reiner and Samantha Mullins.
That is a first reading, and we'll have a second reading on September 7th at our next meeting.
And Mr. President, I believe that the applicants are here if anybody has any questions for this annexation. But again, this is one of our things that we normally have no problem with as far as being infill development with just one or two lots next to each other.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. I know we talked about this Thursday night with applicants being here. I'm sure they'd be open for any questions from the body since we have them here tonight. Any questions from the members? Very good. We'll see you back on the 7th for a second reading and vote at that time. We'll now have a first reading and set a public hearing also for September 7th. Item number 19, Resolution 651421. Mr. Corley, if you'll read it, please.
This resolution declares a nuisance due to an overabundance of weeds, grass, and other vegetation at the properties listed in the resolution and directs the abatement thereof as provided by Alabama law.
Thank you. We reviewed each of those properties on Thursday night, and certainly we hope that those get taken care of prior to our meeting on September 7th. I know Mr. Martin will be anxiously watching those. Now, that brings us to the end of our agenda. I will now ask if there's any questions or comments from the body.
Mr. President, I have two short
Yes, sir.
comments. It's budget season, so we will begin that process with a public hearing, with our budget hearings on September 2nd at 1 p.m. in the council chamber, and we'll hear that from 1 to 5 heading into the work session. So that's when we'll have our yearly where we hear everything, and then we will proceed a couple weeks down the road through that and should have a budget passed and ready to go before the end of September. Also, this afternoon, we had our first meeting, our kickoff meeting with the group that's in the feasibility study for the Performing Arts Center. It was a great meeting. We got a lot accomplished, and we will be sending surveys fairly soon to stakeholders to start getting public impact, and should have something back around Christmas time to present to everybody on that topic.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I also failed to recognize Mr. Craig Kelly at the start of the meeting. Mr. Kelly is a member of our Hoover Board of Education. We're proud to have you here. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the members? We'll now move to the public comment section. I'd welcome any members of the public who have a comment or welcome to come forward. Yes, ma'am.
Hey there. Long time no see. Trish Crane, I live on Thornton Drive near Green Valley School. I have been a 50-plus year member of the Hoover citizenry. I'm coming to you tonight with a request, and it's probably not going to be a very popular request, but as many of you know, the changes at Star Lake have resulted in some people being unhappy and some people being thrilled. One population that we haven't heard from are the ducks. And you may or may not know that since September, since the areas were paved for the new parking area, approximately 30 ducks have been run over by cars. That is an extraordinary number of ducks to be killed. In my years here, we have never lost 30 ducks in this short period of time. We even had an incident, unfortunately, that Chief Durgis is looking into, that a gentleman purposefully ran down some Canadian geese there. I have been searching for some sort of something to slow the traffic, to do all sorts of things to make the duck killing stop. And after I picked up a beautiful mallard that had been hit by a car on Saturday evening about 7:20 at the intersection of Diadera and Oriole, right in front of the Richardson's house, it dawned on me that the only way to help the ducks is to remove the ducks, to lower the population. If that means, I thought, well, maybe you relocate them. But I don't know anything about ducks, so I reached out to the Alabama Wildlife Center and the Alabama Audubon Society. I talked at length with a gentleman at the Alabama Wildlife Center, Andrew Arnold. He gave me permission to tell you his name. He said, you know, you've got too many ducks there. What you really need to do, relocating is very difficult. It's hard on ducks who live in families. And I said, well, you know, lots of them have lost family members in recent months, so there's a lot of cruelty already happening. he said, you know, the best thing to do is to stop feeding the ducks. And I thought, wow, that would be a big blow to the citizens of Hoover. But then I emailed back and forth with the Alabama Audubon Society director, who said, yep, you're going to have to stop feeding the ducks. And that way the population will stabilize, the ducks will relocate, and you'll have a population of ducks that works for Star Lake. I went down there yesterday, I counted 60 ducks, and there are probably 60 plus geese down there as well. I've looked into it. I've spent a lot of time trying to find a solution. This is the only solution that I think makes real sense, because unfortunately the citizens of Hoover have shown they are not going to stop running over the ducks, and there is little to nothing that can be done to slow them down. We cannot have police officers hanging out down there all the time. And it's not just a matter of speed. I think it's a matter of too many ducks. They're coming out in between cars. There are too many ducks. So I would ask you to please consider an ordinance banning the feeding of ducks at Star Lake. Other cities have enacted ordinances like this. I'm sure it would take a big public educational campaign for people to understand that we're really not helping them. What we've done is we've brought way too many animals into way too small of a space, and that puts them at grave danger of being run over by cars. And I think anybody would agree with me that, you know, not feeding them is better than subjecting them to being run over by a car. So I ask you to please consider this. I'll offer any assistance that I can. I'm coming to you obviously in my personal capacity as a 50-year resident of Hoover, and there are a few of us who have been extremely concerned about the welfare of the ducks. It's unfortunate there haven't been more. It's been very disappointing, in fact, to see that there are not more of my neighbors concerned about the ducks. But you guys run the city, and I'm hoping that you will please look into this, and there is urgency to this. This is not something that can be studied for a year, and then somebody makes some recommendations and a committee says, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and 4 years from now we've had 120 or 150 more ducks run over. So I hope that you will understand the urgency with which I bring you this request. It's not something that is unusual. Although Mr. Arnold at the Alabama Wildlife Center said we do have a complex and unique problem, and we have created this problem as citizens for the last 50 years, and now with the changes at Star Lake. So I hope that you'll see this as I don't know that this is it, but when the two best experts in the state tell you that this is how you stop the problem and you reduce the duck population, you tend to believe them. And I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Miss Nelson. She and I, when I first started talking with her about Star Lake back in May, and the first thing she said to me is, y'all have to stop feeding the ducks. And I said, oh no, oh my gosh, no, I fed those ducks when I was a child. As a first grader at Green Valley School, I walked to Star Lake as part of a science project. We just took the whole grade down there one day and back. Wouldn't happen now. But she was right. And so her knowledge, I wish I had listened to her back in May and begun pursuing something then. We would have saved another dozen ducks or so. But please consider this. And again, I offer any assistance, and I'll answer any questions you have.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Crane? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Very well. We are adjourned.